Hey, this is Toby at scheel-mann USA, and I just want to make a quick video on how to put flat sliding rails on the bottom of the seat. First thing that I've done is I've got the seat in a vertical position, and for me, the best way to do this is to put it on its back. When you open up the seat, you'll see that the hardware for putting the sliders onto the seat are actually attached to the bottom of the seat. So we'll grab those, open them up, and lay them out so they're all ready for the next step. So now we have the parts that we're going to need laid out, and I want to talk about how to orientate them in a way that makes sense. Essentially, we've got the 6 8mm mounting bolts. You're going to need a 5mm high quality Allen wrench, and we supply that with the kit. You've got the release handle, and then we have the 2 sliders. The sliders can be a little bit disorienting, and so let's talk about which way goes towards the seat and which way goes towards the slider. So the part here, this is going to go towards the adapter bracket. The larger part here, with these 2 ribs, that's going to go towards the seat. And then, so now we know this goes towards the seat, this goes towards the adapter bracket, and these 2 tabs on the inside here, they go towards the front of the vehicle, and the single tab goes towards the back of the vehicle. So we know that this is the slider that's going to be mounted on this side of the seat with this towards the seat. In order to install the slider, we need to actually move the slider one way to access the front bolts, and then the other way to access the rear bolts. And the best way that I've found to do that is to follow this silver spring and put your forefinger here and your thumb here and squeeze, and that releases the slider so that you can move it back and forth. We've exposed the front mounting hole for the slider, and I've just placed one of the 8mm bolts in the hole. We've got our 5mm Allen wrench, and I'm just going to gently start the bolt in the hole with the tool. And always be careful not to cross thread or force anything. It should go in very smooth and square and straight. So using your tool, tighten the bolt, but don't go all the way. We want to leave the slider so that we can still move it around like that, so that when we're installing the rear bolts, there's nothing fighting each other. We have the first bolt started. It's still loose enough that we can slide it around. And I'm going to move the slider to the side and then pinch that spot we talked about earlier and move the slider the other way, which will expose the holes so we can put the rear bolts in. With the slider moved forward, we can install both of the rear bolts, and once both are started, we can actually tighten them down, and they need to be tight, but they don't need to be reefed on like crazy. They're just 8mm bolts. With the bottom 2 bolts tight, we're going to install the other slider, then the release handle, and then we can move both sliders back down and make sure the last step is to fully tighten the front bolt. Okay, to recap, we've got the rear 2 bolts on both sliders installed and tightened, and now it's time to move on to installing the release handle. And there's a couple of important things to look at. The first is that the release handle actually isn't flat. There's a bow in it. And so if you put it on a flat surface, you can identify which way the bow is going. And we want the bow to come away from the bottom of the seat like this, so that when you pull up on it, there's more travel for the handle to release the sliders. The next question that you can ask is which position you want to mount the release handle. So there's 2 holes in the side of the release handle, and if you use the rear hole located on the single pin on the side of the slider, it's going to mount the handle with more exposure out the front of the seat. So if you're a taller person and you have the seat extended farther, this would give you more access to the handle. Or you could use the second hole, which will move the handle backwards. So if you're a shorter person, it's not going to hit you in the back of the legs. Once you've chosen which position you want to mount the release handle, we're going to install it. And to do that, on one side, we're going to locate the single pin at the rear of the slider. And for this application, we're going to use the front hole. And so we're going to just slide right over and hold it in place. And then on the other side, I'm just going to gently bend the release handle and put it in place. So now both holes are lined up. And you can use your hands. And then on this side, I'm going to show you how to use a soft mallet to locate the release handle between the 2 forks and the rear pin. So I'm just going to clarify that we're lined up right here. and then just a gentle tap. And I want to seat it all the way in between those forks, all the way, and see that it's even on both sides here. Okay, now that we've installed the release handle, the last very important step is to release the sliders, push them back, and come back and torque up the front two mounting bolts. We use a little bit of silicone grease inside the sliders, and so it's pretty common after you've installed sliders that you might have gotten a little bit of residue on the seat itself. And if you did, use a good quality leatherette or leather cleaner that will get that grease off the seat. I'm just gonna put a little bit on this towel, and I've got some fingerprints over here, so we're just gonna clean that up. Thanks for following along with me as I showed that process. If for any reason it wasn't clear, or you have any questions at all about a scheel-mann installation or a scheel-mann product, always feel free to reach out to info@scheel-mann.com or call the number on our website. We're really happy to chat about all of our products.